Hi, this is Kurt from thelongcommute.com, welcoming you to the second video in this podcast series of the 2006 Toyota Prius. This is my personal vehicle. I drive every day back and forth to work, about 100 miles a day. I'm going to do a little test drive segment here so you can get an idea of what it's like driving a hybrid vehicle as it compares to a traditional gas vehicle. The first thing, as we mentioned in the other video, is for this vehicle I actually have a proximity key, and what that allows me to do is really not have to put a key in the ignition. As I said, there is an ignition down here where you can stick the key fob, but I haven't used that really ever. So the first thing I'm going to do is, as long as the key's in my pocket, like I said, put my foot on the brake, hit the power button, and that you can see will start up the vehicle there. And I see all sorts of warning lights and things, just like a traditional car, but that'll go away. Seatbelt on here as well. And you see that, you know, minimal dash, as we talked about in video number 1. If you want to see that video, incidentally, you can follow us at thelongcommute.com/videos, or click a link on the bubble up here on the top left, and that'll take you to the video. And there'll also be one at the end of this video, so you can go and watch that as well after you watch this video if you want to watch this one first. So you can hear the engine actually started up, and that's normal. It'll start to get the catalytic converter up to operating temperature. And I've got the air conditioning on a little bit, so I'm going to close the window so we can actually hear while I'm driving. But over in the middle here, as I talked about in the last video, the multifunction display, the two main screens you're going to want to look at, I usually watch, is a combination of the energy monitor screen here and also the consumption screen here. So we'll leave it on the energy monitor for now. And so with my foot on the brake, I'm going to put it in drive, and I can see up on the dash, pretty simply, it shows me drive. So I'm going to keep the camera on this for a little bit, and you can see how when I'm driving, I just have, now the engine happened to start up there because the battery's getting a little low. So now you can see I'm running on both the engine and the battery. Now it's just engine. Take my foot off the gas once the battery gets charged up. Now the way this works is, once the battery drops below a certain amount of charge, usually with 1 or 2 bars there, or 3 bars like you see, the engine battery will kick in, bring the battery up to charge. The main engine will kick in, bring the battery up to charge, and then after that the engine will stop. Now because the battery's a little low, it's going to take a little to charge up, and we'll keep an eye on this as we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about how the Prius is different from driving a normal vehicle. The first thing you'll notice about the Prius is the windshield's huge, so you have quite a view. You know, you really have no obstructive views, and it sits back at an angle. If you're a little taller, you might have a little issue, but I'm not that tall, but I don't have any issues. And you know, bigger people may have, like if you're taller or you'd like to sit up a little high, that may be a little bit of an issue. So you can see here that when I'm slowing down, the aqua color there means it's regenerative braking, charging up the batteries. And now I'm back on the gas, and you can see I'm actually using the engine battery as well as the battery to drive the electric generator, or the electric motor, excuse me, and then that also drives the wheels. And then you can also see now, you know, it's sort of a combination of a lot of things, and it's pretty much instantaneous. It's not exact, but that's how you can see now that, you know, now I take my foot off the gas, or if I were to step on the brake, I'd regenerative brake and charge the batteries. And now I'm just using engine battery. You can see there just the yellow, or excuse me, electric motor with the battery, and you can see the yellow, and now it's both. So it's a lot of that. It's actually, once you get the car, you watch it quite a bit, then afterwards you don't. You can see the current mileage down there, 24 miles a gallon, 39, 40. That's instantaneous. I'm going to kick over to the other screen, not the energy monitor, but what's called the consumption screen. And that one there, kick this in here, see if there's any better. There we go. That one there is reading about 50 miles to the gallon. Now we've gone about 539 miles to the tank. Now I'm pretty much need to get gas as soon as I'm done with this test drive. So that's the most I've ever gotten to a tank, which is pretty impressive in my book for regular pump gas. I think it's you know, I've gotten over 500, but in the summer I've noticed that I'm getting quite a bit more miles to the gallon. Maybe I'm just being more conscious than I used to be, but so we'll continue here doing a little test drive. You see here that it tells you how much power you've actually generated, which to me it's a little gimmicky. I don't usually watch that. And then also your instantaneous miles on the right hand side, sort of your current. but I usually keep it right here on the info screen. You can see the battery charge is coming up as we were driving. Take my foot off the gas. The aqua means we're using regenerative braking and charging up the batteries there. And eventually that will go from blue to green as well. When it gets down in the purple, or I think we were a little close before, the bottom end of the blue is when the gas motor will kick in. Plus, when you first start it up from cold, the gas engine kicks, like I said, to warm up the catalytic converters. But you can see, you know, it drives pretty much like a normal vehicle. You do feel the electric motor kick in and kick out a little bit, but you get used to it after a while. It's, you know, just something, just like any vehicle, you get used to it. So you can see I got my foot on the brake. The battery's even charging more. Make the turn here. So that's sort of neat. You can see what the engine's doing. A lot of times you get a really long hill, you'll charge that battery pretty much right up. So it does get up into the green. But as far as power, anything like that, plenty of power. You know, we're climbing a little bit of an incline here. Got plenty of power. It is a variable transmission. There's really no gearing. Sort of like driving a golf cart in that respect, where got some rain coming here, but where you don't have any gears. So that's a little different. You tend to wind the motor out a little more. That takes a little getting used to, but it's not terrible. But you can see here I'm coasting. And if I just lightly hit my foot on the gas, see just the yellow now, I'm just using the engine, the electric motor. The gas engine's not working. I'm using the electric motor with battery charge. I give myself a little more gas, plus I'm going over 34 miles, the gas engine kicks in. So it's sort of a game you can play, you know, how much, and it's just going to help you get better gas mileage because you can feather foot it a little bit, so to speak. But that's generally the screen I watch the most. I tend to flip over, like I said, to the consumption screen because that'll tell me how many miles I'm getting to the tank and also how many miles I'm getting to the gallon. So you can see here that the battery's charging right up, and if we were to continue driving, it would go right towards green. As you can see, we were about half as much, or you know, twice as much as we started with, about 3/4. And we're going to pull over here in a little bit, and I'll let you get a feeling of how it drives, as far as starting from a stop now that we have a full battery, and also just what you can expect of when the battery comes in and when you can come to a stop. All right, so here we are on a side road. I didn't want to do that in the middle of the road we were driving on. Stopped in a development here, and as you can see, I'm actually going to turn off. Let's see if you can. And you pretty much all you're going to hear is the rain. Actually, you can see here we're in park. I got my foot on the brake, but there's no one. The engine's not running. And it's pretty quiet, and that takes a little getting used to. I'm going to turn this on just a little bit. But from here, now from a dead stop, I'm resting my foot on the gas just a little bit, and you can see that I'm just driving from the batteries, the electric motor into the batteries, from the batteries, and driving the front wheels there. For the front wheel. Incidentally, it's a front wheel drive vehicle. I had failed to mention that in video number 1. So as long as I don't really romp on it, I'm doing okay. You know, I don't have to worry about, I'm just pretty much, it's quiet and you're running, and actually the rain's making more of a noise than the car is. If I get on it a little bit, you feel a little bit of a shudder, which if you were driving you would, and then the engine kicks in. But in addition to the engine, the electric motor is still kicking in also. A lot of it depends on what you're doing, and, you know, and how far you put your foot on the gas and things like that. So as I come up over this ridge here, take my foot off the gas, and now we're back to charging the battery. And I'm going to coast down this hill. You can see going down a little bit of a hill here. Now even my foot on the brake. You can see from earlier we've charged the battery, like I said, about twice as much. So it takes a little getting used to, the engine kicking in and out. It's not real jerky or anything like that. It's really sort of neat. Turn here and show you one other feature as we come to a stop here. So the other feature of this multifunction display is the backup camera. Remember in video number 1, I showed you where there's a backup camera on the back hatch. We're going to come to a stop here, and this will shut the motor off. There it is there. You really can't hear it, but it shuts right off, and it's quiet. And you wouldn't even know it's running. A lot of times you have to remember to put it in park if you come to a stop and want to shut the car off. When you shift into reverse, the backup camera is going to come on. It's going to do a loud beep, so you probably won't be able to hear me when that's going on, but so I'll let you know about that, and we'll talk about the backup camera here. Into reverse, there's the backup camera. I'm shooting into the light a little bit behind me, but you can see here, I generally still always like to look behind me. And so go back to drive. One thing about the back of the car is you can see there is the hatchback glass, and then there's a piece of glass that goes underneath it that's more vertical that allows you to see a little lower in the tailgate. So that comes in handy. Blind spots aren't terrible. You got these little windows in the back also, and you do have a mirror, like I said, you have a mirror on that side, so that helps you. So drivability is not terrible, but so that's about all I have to say about driving a hybrid vehicle. You know, once you get in it, other people who have driven the car really don't notice the difference, aside from, number one, that coming to a stop, and just, you know, the shifter's a little different and how to start and stop it. But once you're driving, you really wouldn't know the difference. It's a comfortable ride. There's really no, you know, I don't have to worry about this vehicle. You don't have to worry about the batteries running out or anything, because you always have the gas. Some vehicles are true battery, so you have to, you know, I guess that technically wouldn't be a hybrid, but some electric vehicles, you don't have that problem, so I don't worry about that. So from that perspective, if you're concerned about, oh, I don't want to drive a hybrid because it might be different, you know, I invite you to take one for a test drive, see what you think. I'd be surprised if it was a difference enough where you really didn't like it enough where the fuel mileage offsets the little bit of different driving experience you have than what you've been used to. So we'll go back here and take a look at this. But you see here, I'm charging the battery back up. You know, currently getting 99.9 miles to the gallon. So just because I'm not using any gas whatsoever. There's the electric coming in a little bit. Took my foot a little bit on the gas. Flip back to the other screen. You can see we've gone 543 miles. So I pretty much need to get some gas. I've been told that the tank on this car is more of a bladder, and that's why in the wintertime you get fewer miles to the gallon, because of the fact that it's constricted more because it's cold. And then in the summer you get more, so it can be filled up more. I mean, I have definitely seen an increase miles per gallon in the summer, but that's not necessarily unique to a hybrid or to something, or to this car, I should say. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this review of this two-part review of the 2006 Toyota Prius, the car I drive every day to work, about 100 miles a day, about 24,000 miles in a year. Hope you enjoyed it, and this will give you some information that maybe you can go out and test drive one for yourself, or even buy one. If you have any questions, leave me a note in the comments section if you would, or go to thelongcommute.com, and at the top of the page there's a contact button and an email button. You can reach out to me, let me know. You can also go to thelongcommute.com/videos. You'll see that all our videos on there, part 1 of this review series. You can also click the link right here on the screen to get you to part 1 as well. So once again, I thank you for watching, and safe commuting.